Hello and welcome to session 2 for Hearts of Wulin, Legend of the Shark-Fingered Princess. This is a session of our PBTA Wuxia game using some of the supernatural framework. These are elements that are in the background. Our touchstones in terms of movies are Painted Skin and Bride with White Hair and Chinese Ghost Story. In terms of television, there's a series currently on Netflix called The Untamed, and that's a good inspiration for this. It is a very long series, as most of the series are. Last time we created characters, and we set up entanglements, and we started a little bit of play, and they began to investigate a mystery that we'll come back and talk about. Today we're going to bring in another character. And at the start of the session, we're going to check in on our entanglements, our characters, introductions, and all of that kind of thing. A couple of things before we get started. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. This session is part of the Gauntlet gaming community. That's an online gaming club / community. We have a Patreon that supports our work there that has a variety of things associated with it. I won't go through all that, but you can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. To start today, we are going to walk through each of the characters, have them reintroduce themselves so we get positioned. And so Abe is good on that, and we'll check in on the entanglement. So we're gonna work across in character sheet order. I'll try and change that up next time. I try to vary that order, but we're going to start over on the far left with Moonlit River. Can you give us the quick elevator pitch on Moonlit River, and then we'll talk about their entanglements.
Moonlit River, he, him, is a student exorcist, essentially a young, very enthusiastic monk who was sent out in the world to learn a bit more about things, because while he had a lot of enthusiasm, his sense of control was not as strong as they require. So he kind of needs some tempering.
You're muted, Lowell.
I'm going to forget to do that. So thank you. And God Ghost Exchange is your style. Tell us about that. You're using a fairly large polearm, but you're also not maybe as expert as others.
Yeah, so I chose metal for what I use for it. God Ghost Exchange. It's supposed to be a very something where you kind of draw somebody in. Very careful about how you use everything, and he himself is not as good at that as he could be, partly because he's just lacks the patience that the God Ghost Exchange asks for. He's also part from the Twin Shadow Mountain Monastery.
Excellent. Abe, I will mention when you're off mic, you might want to mute just so we don't get the background noise. Thank you. Let's look at your entanglements. So tell us about each of your entanglements, and if you're still happy with them.
I think they both work really well, especially with the moves I took, with the ability to look into past lives. So I pined for Snowy Fox, but I destroyed them and their lover in a past life, who's been reborn as Turbulent Stone. So I've been able to have a little bit of that anger there. And then Mournful Ghosts asked me for insight and advice, but I respect that. I suspect that's a behest of Master Flawless, who worries me. And while we haven't gotten to that part of it yet, it gives me a fun hook into Seventh Storm. Mm-hmm. Which I'm very much looking forward to going into. So yeah, I'm very happy with the entanglements.
Yeah, you've got a couple of connections there. So we know Snowy Fox did turn to the dark side. That they have kind of slipped over maybe into corrupted styles. We haven't seen exactly what that means yet, and that's something that Seventh Storm wasn't able to prevent. So that's an important tie there. And then Master Flawless is clearly a peer of Seventh Storm because they are friends. But we also know that Mournful Ghost kind of is what would you say, a master-student relationship or just a junior-brother relationship? How do you imagine that?
I like the idea of the master-student.
Yeah, so Master Flawless is skilled. Mournful Ghost, perhaps a little bit younger, knows you from before. All right, so you're good with both of those.
Yep.
If we were to highlight one of those as the one you definitely, we'll try and get to both, but if there was one of the two that you wanted to desperately see on screen today, which would that be?
I think the one with Turbulent Stone is easier for us to bring up, so it'd be
Okay.
interesting to meet like Master Flawless or Mournful Ghost.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And you're good with the moves that you chose?
Yep, very much.
Okay. Excellent. Then let us come to Seventh Storm.
Yeah, that's me. My name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I'm playing Seven Storm, who uses he, him pronouns. He is the scion of the Lotus Wind lineage, a rather important and influential, I imagine, family. His mother is Sixth Storm. Yeah, it goes back. He is, well, he's betrothed to Skyboys, who he doesn't know very well. And do you want me to start with the fighting style or the entanglements? Sorry.
I'm muted again. Just give us a sense of what your kind of your fighting style, what you're using, and what it looks like, and then we'll move to entanglements.
I'm using the Dreaming Crane style, which is which uses swords and illusions. I create these illusions. I have great control over that, and I have to calculate that very well. So I'm using metal for my illusions, and of course there's the sword in the middle of it. The illusions are usually bird-shaped, but not always, but mostly. You can see I have a picture of the character, and you can see this crane, I think, in the background, and that's kind of one of the illusions that he unleashes if he thinks that's a good idea to fight people with. Yeah. So that's.
And tell us about your two entanglements, and let's check in and make sure you're good with those.
Okay, I think I'm still fine with both. My first one is I failed to save Snowy Fox from turning to the dark side, and out of love, I accept Moonlit River's blame of me for that. I don't know if the love is supposed to be for Moonlit River, but I kind of see it that I love Snowy Fox, and now she's fallen to the dark side, and
Absolutely.
that's why I accept the blame, because I feel like, yeah, I let her down, and it's totally, of course he blames me. I blame myself for that.
Absolutely, and we've established that neither of you kind of know where Snowy Fox is now. Yeah. That's kind of a mystery that's out there. But we did see them briefly on screen.
Oh yeah, right. I thought I saw her and attacked her, but it wasn't her.
Right. And Master Flawless is your friend.
Yeah, I can sense a dark destiny if my friend Master Flawless maintains their love for Sister Serpent.
And what do you know that Sister Serpent is a snake woman in disguise? Do you think, or do you just suspect something weird?
I think I just suspect that something is up with her. Something is strange about her. I don't know precisely what or who what she is, but there's something off, and I sense this dark destiny. There's a disturbance in the force. Wait,
Excellent.
Wrong game.
Yes, you did this yesterday, so.
I did this yesterday, yeah.
And you're good with both of those entanglements still?
Yes, totally. And I will highlight the one that contains Moonlit River.
Okay.
Right. And Sister and Snowy Fox, because that's very interesting. No, I'm not Garland, sorry.
And we did get your younger sister on screen.
Yeah, Little Breeze,
yesterday. So
my younger sister, she's kind of used to taking advantage of my love for her. Absolutely. I mean, she's not evil or anything, but she's kind of playful, I guess.
And I think that she saw one of your companions and fell was smitten with them.
Yeah.
Which was that? Moonlit River or Turbulent Stone? I'm trying to remember here.
Yes, it was one of these. I don't know. I think somebody rolled not so very well.
I think that was me.
I think it's Moonlit River, because you came and spoke with Seventh Storm in the market, and she saw you at that point. Okay. And are you good with both of your moves? Okay. All right. Then let us come to Turbulent Stone.
Hey, I'm Raji, he, him. Turbulent Stone is also he, him. He is a monster hunter from the Eight Steps Society, practicing the um, Eight Steps of the Ghost style. He's kind of a vagabond, rougher looking character with a very um, grounded to the earth style of martial arts. His entanglements are with Seventh Storm, who looks a lot like his love, Sunset Chin, who died at the hands of a monster. But they're promised to Sky Voice.
Yeah, so Seventh
And
Storm is
Mhm.
engaged to Sky Voice, I think, is that we established. Yeah.
Yeah. And my other entanglement is the monster's sister serpent saved my life and has asked for my help wooing Moonlit River.
So a good friend. We kind of established, that this is one of the monsters. You've kind of overlooked their monstrousness through obligation, and they
Yeah.
probably haven't done anything terrible in your presence. And we've got a picture of her in the NPCs tab. And I see that actually you noted in your story that it's actually Little Breeze has a crush on you. So I just noticed
Yeah, that's
you
right.
actually
I
were
totally forgot about
smart
that.
and wrote these things down.
I wrote it down and then I didn't look at it, so I don't know the point.
Are you good with both of those entanglements?
I am, yeah. Last time we kind of saw the tension of Seventh Storm looking like Sunset Chen, and I thought that was a cool scene. So yeah.
And which of the two entanglements do you want to highlight today?
I'm kind of good with either one, to be honest. The one with Seventh Storm is really interesting, so I'm good with continuing that one.
Okay, let's do that. So the mechanical thing for that is, and this is a thing that may go away,
Okay.
is highlighting. We check at the end of the session to see if you've engaged with the entanglements, and the one that you highlight, you get more XP for. This is a thing that has been doesn't do all that much because we usually hit most of the entanglements.
Yeah.
Are you still good with the moves that you chose?
I think so. I haven't used Heads for Sale yet, but I think at some point it'll come in handy.
Could come in handy. And
Yeah.
tell me, remind me, what is the are you barehanded or using a weapon, using a sword,
I
right?
have a sword.
Okay.
I don't know what it would be called, but something like a scimitar with like the rings attached to it.
Yeah. With the sort of more sabery kind of heavy duty
Yes.
thing. Okay. Excellent. All right. So with those three returning characters established, we're now going to come to Abe and have you give us the full story of your character.
All right. Let's see. I am playing. Well, first of all, my character is unorthodox in human disguise. So I have like a sort of dual role. One version of me is I have heroes. That's a he, him. His pronouns are he, him. And Gold Spot Tiger is she, her. So basically, you know, Eye of Heaven has been sent to Earth to cause mischief amongst mortals. His moves are painted skin. So what he does is that he appears as one of the two, and then he has to kind of dip out and go off screen to switch to the other. But we play as twin brother and sister, but we're never around, like fraternal twins, but we're never at the same place at the same time. Also, another move is Emperor of the Underworld. That seemed like a pretty rad move, so I thought I'd go with that. Let's see, I am a member of the Many Venom sect, which I think is an offshoot of the Thousand Venom sect, but we fight for good. There were some Thousand Venom sect folks who had conscience, so they broke off. I fight in the Hidden Path style, which is a very obscure style that is used by changelings specifically. My weapon use is Eye of Heaven uses a chain with an axe head at the end, and Gold Spot Tiger uses a sword, which is just like kind of a standard, standard blade. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else you want to know about me?
Yeah, let me ask you a couple questions. Let's about 10 years ago, we established last time that there was the 1,000 venoms. So you have been, that kind of gives us a sense that maybe you've been on Earth for quite some time.
Yes. Well, I come to Earth when sent on a mission,
Okay, yeah.
It's like I've been around for a long time, but I'm usually in some other sphere unless I'm sent here for a reason.
And so you were part of this offshoot, probably lost in the retellings of the story, the fact that there were some of these people that actually probably helped defeat the 1,000 venoms and their leader, Unconquered Sky. But people have forgotten about that. They just know the story of all the sort of supernatural bad guys, and probably part of the reason that we're
lost to time.
Yeah, part of the reason that you've come back is in recent months there have been signs and markings of the 1,000 venoms, and people are afraid that they have returned. So that makes sense. Let me see. So you're a trickster, but what makes you? How do we know that you're a hero in the story? What tells us that?
What tells you that I'm a hero?
Yeah, like how have you become friends and things?
Oh, how I become friends with everybody? I think I don't know. I'm fairly open to suggestions. I have. Let's see. Yeah, I think if you have any suggestions, that would be great, because I don't really know an inn for a random, ancient.
Well, let's go ahead and do your entanglements, and
all right.
That will help us get a sense.
But I don't know if they really apply. Like the romantic one, I don't know if it applies. I put 7 Storm down just because there seemed to be, a big love triangle kind of aspect that could happen. And then my general is my master, which is Oxhead, who is a guardian of hell. And I'm following their, they've sent me on the mission, so that's what I'm doing here. But so who would you guys recommend for the romantic?
I mean, I could totally see it being 7 Storm. He doesn't have a lover per se. Well, it might be Snowy Fox, or it might be his fiancée Sky Voice, who doesn't like you, or his sister Little Breezes, if we can exchange lover for sibling.
Do you think they could be better as as Turbulence, 7 Storm's sister, or as their fiancé? What do you think, Abe?
Sorry, I was looking at the NPC sheet trying to follow along with the names.
Okay.
So I missed a little bit of that. So Little Breeze is 7 Storm's sister, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's the little sister. She's not, we don't know much about her, except that she's fallen for, I think, Turbulent Stone. Bless you. And Sky Voice, we don't know much about, except that she's my fiancée. And somebody is in love with her or has an entanglement with her, right? Sky Voice.
And Sister Servant's the bad guy, right? Master Flawless is the master. And who's Mournful Ghost?
Mournful Ghost is a friend and peer of Moonlit River.
All right. And Minister Ning is a boss.
he is the person who sent them on the mission, who seems somewhat shady.
Oh, okay. Let's see. How about Mournful Ghost? Does that sound good?
So in what context here? How we?
For the romantic context.
Okay. So you disguise yourself to get close to Mournful Ghost. Um, and then who do you think is suspicious of you then? Is it Moonlit River, who, is a friend to Mournful Ghost, or do you think the other person we have connected to Mournful Ghost is their master, Master Flawless?
How about Moonlit River?
Okay.
I don't think I can get over on a master yet.
Okay. So we'll say that Moonlit River knows you, but maybe has suspicions about you, like is a little bit
Right.
worried. Does that work for you, Moonlit River? Okay. So disguise yourself, get close to Mournful Ghost, but their friend, Moonlit River, suspects you. And then your master, Oxhead, another supernatural guardian of hell who's up here in human form, has secretly trained you or secretly put you in place here as a revenge plot against Turbulent Stone.
Yes.
And that certainly makes sense, since Turbulent Stone is a monster hunter. And maybe unknown to you, Oxhead wants to get Turbulent Stone back for certain people that got kiboshed. Does that work for you, Turbulent Stone?
Yep, that works for me.
So let me ask you this, because the other PCs won't know it, but on screen when we see this, what do you think is the giveaway or the sign or the thing that tells the audience at home that you are this transformed being?
I have a giant birthmark on my back that looks like, surprisingly enough, looks exactly like a phoenix. And both versions of me, have the same birthmark. That's our explanation, how you can tell that we're twins as well.
I like that. That sounds good. All right. I need to swap my headphones. Just 1 second. So hang on a second. I was wondering why I'd put those away. It's because one of the earphones doesn't work. Last time, we established that our characters are in the capital of this region, Songling. That is the name of the city. And we established that the prince, one of the princes, has been sent here by their father, the emperor, to kind of take over, but nobody really knows what's going on with that, what has happened. But more importantly, over the last few weeks, there have been supernatural occurrences, sightings, things like that. People have been getting very nervous about what's happening. And while this region is known legendarily for having a lot of ghosts and spirits and things, this has been more than usual. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the signs that has come up is repeated signs that mark out the 1,000 venoms. Last time, our heroes were invited to the palace, to the minister's wing, and you spoke with Minister Ning, who asked you to look into some murders and that looked like a beast had killed 3 people, and that the beast had been able to get into locked buildings without leaving any sign of entrance or exit. The group looked into that and realized that this was essentially a tiger soul ghost. And were able to figure out that there was a person who was unjustly convicted of a crime, a merchant by the name of, I think, Master Ping. And there was kind of a conspiracy to frame him, including witnesses and things like that. And he was convicted and executed. And the three people who died, the magistrate, the merchant, and the madam, were all associated with that. They were able to figure out that another person who was a likely target was a person named Casting Blaze, who was kind of a guard who might have overseen all this and certainly acted as a witness. And they went to stake out Casting Blaze's house. Moonlit River laid down a warding to protect the area, and the others waited by. And they were surprised to see not originally the tiger's soul ghost, but these undead who approached and had clearly, these were the previous victims, had returned from the dead and were also being used by this tiger soul ghost. So they fought off the undead, destroyed them, but the tiger soul ghost appeared, smashed against Moonlit River's ward, but was pushed back. And it was at that point that Seventh Storm took on the appearance of one of the previous victims and drew the ire and anger of the tiger soul ghost. And we saw the group rushing through the city and drawing its attention until the sun came up, at which point the ghost vanished. So we're going to kind of take up with those three. We'll kind of set the stage here, maybe get some dialogue between them, and then we'll see about see where is it Eye of Heroes or Eye of Heaven?
Eye of Heaven.
Eye of Heaven. Okay. We'll see about bringing you to kind of cross paths. So I imagine that it's early morning and we see our three characters, Seventh Storm and Turbulent Stone and Moonlit River, kind of catching their breath just after this event at a tea house. And there's breakfast, rice, and things being served to you. Probably not that far away from Casting Blaze's place, since you still kind of want to keep an eye on them. So when we come to you, what are you saying about what happened, Seventh Storm?
I'm saying that we need to find a way to defeat this tiger soul ghost, and also we need to find a way to bring. What with Casting Blaze was the one who was responsible for the merchant's downfall, right? We also need to uncover the plot against the merchant so that the spirit can rest in peace.
In case.
I do not. I will turn to Turbulent Stone and say, you have the most experience and knowledge among us, I think, in fighting creatures such as the tiger-souled ghost. Would us putting the ghost of the merchant to rest, would that stop the monster, or do we still have to defeat it?
Depends on how firm Revenge's claws are dug into it. Sometimes this can work, but it may not always work. And I think I'm kind of like rummaging through some scrolls and stuff like that. They're really in poor condition, but trying to find some information on like a tiger soul ghost.
Do you want to make, you uncovered a little bit last time, do you want to make a study roll to see what else you can figure out?
Sure.
What do you want to roll that with?
I think I will roll it with... I think I can't roll it with water because water's marked, right?
That's correct.
I'll try rolling it with earth.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't
It's a
have
gamble.
the die roller popped up, so let me do that. What tab was the die roller in again?
Oh, it's at the very bottom of the basic moves tab, first column.
Okay. Thank you. All right, that is a 9.
That is a 9. So what is it you want to know? What is your question that you want to ask here? Or do you want to make a declaration? Because you could certainly establish the fact if you wanted.
Oh, it's true. I guess I would ask the group if you would like me to make that declaration. Like, are you interested in exploring putting the soul to rest? And then I could say, yeah, that would be probably the way to do it according to these texts.
What do you think, Sabine?
I mean, we would have to study to up our scale, right, against the tiger. So kind of like the idea of studying to up the scale, but if we can put it to rest easy and focus on other bad things, that would also be fine.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, so it looks to you then, when you go through this, that given the potency of this thing, there are probably a few other people that were involved with this. If you can track down, they must be casting blaze, and probably you judge by sort of your own signs and suggest that there are at least 2 other persons involved. If you can uncover that and find a way to bring them to justice, that will weaken the anger of this spirit, which will allow you to conflict with it and destroy it.
A tiger soul ghost is quite powerful, so I suggest we try to take a diplomatic route and resolve some of its thirst for vengeance, and perhaps we can weaken it that way instead of putting our lives on the line.
If I've ever heard of a conspiracy where a group of people only did harm to a single person, usually they've done it before, others will also have gotten some of the fallout. So we may want to look at what other damage has been done by this group.
I agree.
That is a good point. I think we've established that I know the city pretty well because I've lived here for a while. So I would like to roll a study move to find out if anything comes to mind that might be laid at the door of this shadowy group of evil people guys.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I'm going to roll not with water because that's marked. And I think we've heard that before, but I think, Earth is a good idea. Caution seems okay. Yeah, thank you. It was a 10, now it's an 8, but it's still a 9.
So you have one question or one declaration?
I think for this, I might just do.
Is that?
Hey guys, sorry, everything dropped.
Sorry.
Was me. That was me, I think.
Okay, cool. I thought my internet has been
suddenly
unreliable lately.
No,
that was actually me. That is literally the first time I've had that happen with Zoom.
Huh.
So
it's the second time it's crashed on me today.
Wow.
It happened about 15 minutes ago as well.
Oh, okay.
I wonder.
A lot of people role playing.
Yeah.
I was just gone, and then I was back. That I hadn't had that before.
I know they've been rolling out updates on a regular basis, so it's probably this is the day that they roll those out. We'll see. So you were saying what you wanted to declare or ask?
Yeah, I want to declare something because I think Merchant Ping was getting involved or was removed by these guys because he had some kind of business thingies going on that they didn't like, or was it about some space, some property, some real estate?
Yeah, I think we established that Ping owned a couple of businesses and locations that in auspicious places.
Oh, right. Oh, I have an idea. So what I realize at that point is that there are different auspicious places, and they are auspicious because of Feng Shui connections to the flow of qi and force through the city. And that recently, or in the last year or two, others of the people who owned one of these places were either going bankrupt or died by tragic accident or stuff like that. If that's okay.
Yeah, that seems great. And definitely this cabal that is doing this is more potent and wider reaching than you thought at first. It's not an isolated case.
Yeah, and I will go pale, right? I'm pale already, so but my face will still, and I say, I think, and I start drawing a map on the table. I'm drawing it with an illusion, so the map just appears on the table, so we can see a bit of the city. And I say, look at these points. That seems interesting, isn't it? Because that was Ping, and this person died of an accident, and his widow left town, and this person was going bankrupt and was driven out. This seems like it's more than a single. You were right. It is not a single incident. It is a conspiracy.
Excellent. Let me pause that, and let me work to let's bring our fourth member into contact with the group. Let me do a little bit of setup, and then we'll bring our paths across and move forward. So, Eye of Heaven, what have you been doing in the last few days now that all of this weird, supernatural, dangerous things has been happening? Are you consulting with Oxhead? Are you investigating on the ground? Are you worried about Mournful Ghost? What do you think?
I think basically Oxhead, he's kind of like the CEO, so to speak, and so he will send. He'll send on missions, but there's not a whole lot of contact. I'm kind of on my own as far as direct links to him. So I think I've just been investigating. I'm spending a lot of time kind of tracking down information on what's going on. What kind of ghost is that? Tiger spirit ghost?
Tiger soul ghost.
Tiger soul ghost. I think because I'm a changeling, I have some familiarity with that. Would I know that that's what's going on just by familiarity with the spirit world?
Yeah, that seems fair since the PCs are already have that established,
Right.
that they know that. So you've been searching around on this. When you will get a missive, a messenger will arrive. How does Oxhead send summons?
Ravens.
Okay, and that'll be the thing. And we see you, and then we see the raven kind of perched there, and that says you need to go and speak with them. So you described Oxhead as a CEO. So what kind of location does he dwell in here in the city?
Oh well, Oxhead actually is a god of death in hell, in actual hell, which is just the where the dead people go. It's not like hell, like Christian hell. I don't think from what I was reading. So would he? I would think it would be more like the Emperor, Emperor Palpatine kind of thing, where he kind of shows up like as like not an illusion, but appears as a vision. You know what I mean?
So I imagine that you have to go to a location and kind of walk in, and he's kind of set dressed the location. You get, it almost looks to us like you've walked into hell. And we see Oxhead, and he's munching on something. We don't know what it is. And he looks up, Eye of Heaven. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. I'm investigating. Seems to be a tiger soul ghost on the loose. You know, and that's pretty much all I've gotten so far.
Ah, yes. One of those has escaped. Revenge will sometimes let the souls come back. I don't care for that. I don't mind the havoc, but I don't like it when they get out of our hands like that.
Absolutely. Yes, it can always cause quite a lot of problems for the mortals.
Yeah, but yes. I need you to keep your ears open. There's some restless things, and he seemed kind of pause, like there's something clear he isn't going to reveal to you. But he says, this ghost, this tiger soul ghost, it is not simply an isolated thing. There is more to it.
You don't have any? Can you give me any more information, sir?
Could I? Yes. Will I? No.
All right, as you will have it, sir. No problem.
Absolutely. I need you to keep an eye on your friend Turbulent Stone.
Mm-hmm.
They may be at the nexus of this. There may come a time when they need to be dealt with.
I understand, sir. No problem.
Why don't you make an inner conflict roll here? Because this is sort of a problem that your boss is kind of suggesting to you that what do you want to roll this with? You can roll it with anything except for fire, because fire is your style element.
I guess I'd roll with metal because I get a +2, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I got a 7.
Got a 7. So you have a choice. You can kind of awkwardly retreat away, clearly showing your tail to Oxhead, or you can mark metal and withdraw with some control.
Geez, seems a little. Is it? I would think it's a little early to mark an element.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll leave with my tail between my legs, I guess.
It definitely is a thing that Oxhead definitely now kind of sees that there's something going on between you and Turbulent Stone, given the way that you reacted.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you come out, back out of this place onto the street, and I think you will see your comrades, a Moonlit River, Seventh Storm, and Turbulent Stone, and it is early morning, and they seem to be hurriedly engaged in some kind of conspiratorial conversation.
Just walking down the street.
You're just walking down the street. You see them. They are at like a little tea house.
Okay. I approach. I'm like, "Hello, friends. It is I of Heaven. It's been a moment."
I of Heaven. How fortuitous.
Yes, it's good to see you too. You seem to be embroiled in a conversation. Is that something? Should I leave you folks be, or may I join you for tea?
I think we are not well acquainted, Eye of Heaven, but please join us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So what brings you through here?
Trouble. A long pause while they think of how to phrase it.
We've been asked to look into some murders.
Oh, what a ghastly occurrence! That's terrible. What happened?
I kind of looked at the other two because I'm not someone who necessarily trusts. I just turned back. I go, murders happened.
I see. Very interesting.
I guess I'm the closest to you, right? That would probably make sense that I'd trust you the most.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I just
Well, no, I
make
think
sure.
don't
Oh,
you
go ahead, sorry.
don't you suspect me because I've got the hots for Mournful Ghost.
No, that's Moonlit River.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got you mixed up. My bad.
Um, yeah, maybe just so everyone's comfortable, I don't give like every single detail, but I say something that hints at there's something more to it, something involving a tiger soul ghost.
Interesting. Tiger Soul ghosts are very powerful, but if you know how to deal with them, they can also not be as troublesome as you might think.
Well, what would you suggest then?
Would I have any insight on ways to handle this?
Well, we can have you roll. There is a move called Uncover Bane. Would you like to roll that? What do you want to roll that
Sure.
with?
I guess I'll use metal again. Can I use that again?
Sure.
All right, 7 again.
7 again. So when you seek out a Bane, study, practice, consultation, and this is your calling on your past knowledge, you get to choose one, and this is under the other moves. The Bane that you come up with can only be used once. It is costly rare. It is forbidden. A rival controls access. It harms you or damages something important. And you're going to choose 2.
Okay, so it could be, so it could be costly or rare. A rival controls access. It harms you or damages something important. Let's see. I'm going to go with the costly rare, and the rival controls access.
Okay.
Tiger soul ghosts are susceptible to attacks when one uses a ruby aspect to attacks. Sometimes I've heard that people will coat their weapons with ruby dust, or perhaps there's some sort of poison that's been imbued with a ruby essence. Unfortunately, I think the only place around here where rubies can be found are with an old contact of mine who I'm not on particularly good terms with. So perhaps I would not be the one to approach them.
So we've established that to lower the power of the Tiger Soul Ghost, want to flush out this conspiracy. And we established that once you get that done, you can use this ruby powder to allow you to strike at scale on this thing. Turbulent Stone, this looks like this is up your alley, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued, and I think I'm not like someone who's too stuck up. Like, I'm confident in my knowledge, but I'm also trying to play to my uncertainty and everything going on since I've watermarked. So I'm like, I had no idea. I didn't have any texts or any knowledge of ruby essence, but I'm pretty good at finding materials like this. So maybe I can work the markets while the rest of you try to hunt down the more worldly ties to the tiger soul ghost.
Yes, that seems like a good idea. Sorry.
No. This seems like a good spot. Now we kind of got an agenda for us to do kind of a once around, kind of split the group in different directions so that their entanglements can cause them problems, and use moves. Does that seem fair to everyone?
Yep.
Then let's start with you, Turbulent Stone. You are going to hunt for ruby essence.
Yes.
Eye of Heaven has given you an idea of who has it. Tell me about where you have to go to find this.
I think because it's rarer, like I need to start in the markets, but I can't just like find it there. I need to probably ask some people how to access like the more like hidden markets with like more forbidden or rare goods.
Absolutely.
And probably ask some of my contacts as well.
We'll assume that there's an old lost underground cavern where there's a black market. That's very classic for the genre. Let's have you roll heads for sale.
All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to roll with Earth again, if that's okay. Just thinking that I would probably move through this, being cautious not to get caught up with something more dangerous or like offend anybody, but also like staying focused on which merchants I should approach.
That seems perfect.
So, let's see. Ooh, good roll. Okay. So that is a 13.
Absolutely. So we'll see you head down into the market there, and you will contact someone who kind of owes you a favor, who will act as an intercessor, and we get this aged figure, an alchemist. They've got all their little jars and unguents and things, and when you come in, they're like, "What do you need this for? What is it you require? This is a rare item. What do you hunt, Monster Hunter?"
I'm trying to deal with a certain type of tiger soul ghost. Seems afflicted with the thoughts of vengeance.
Well, your friend owes me. He owes you, so it all works out in the end. So I will give you this thing. That just know that this is the last of it in the city.
I understand the sacrifice you're making by letting me buy this from you.
Oh yes.
And I also appreciate your confidentiality, as I don't want word of the Tiger Soul Ghost getting out and starting to create rumors and make this more complicated and give it more power than it needs to have.
As you say. And when you kind of step out into again, lantern lit, even though it's daylight upstairs, we're down in this dark market. I think you will feel that sort of sliding up and the presence, and you will see Sister Serpent.
Oh, Sister Serpent, I didn't expect you.
Oh, nice. I was out shopping.
What does a person such as yourself shop for?
Mostly beauty creams, skin preservers, that sort of thing. You understand. It's so dry outside.
It's very dry.
So
yes.
So I like to keep my skin moist and presentable. So what are you up to? Why are you down here?
Oh, I'm always trying to make cold remedies with the changing seasons. I need ingredients that the basic market sellers don't have.
I see this must be very, very potent cold medicines that you should come down to this alchemical shop.
Yes, well, if the body's immune system is weak, it affects the spirit's immune system as well. I can't have that.
And she kind of makes sure that she kind of steps in front. She goes, Have you seen Moonlit River recently?
I actually had breakfast with him.
You did.
Yeah.
You know, I asked you a while back for a favor, and you have not yet really helped me with it.
I put my hand on her shoulder. I apologize. I have been quite distracted. How can I help?
Well, I just need a connection, some sort of introduction. I have set up a beautiful little household up there. Maybe I could be a friend of a friend or a distant cousin. You could call on me and maybe bring Moonlit River. Wouldn't that be lovely? He is
Sounds.
delicious.
Hold on. What do you mean by that?
He's lovely.
Okay. Well, he is younger than you by about 2,000 years.
Consider it a January-December romance.
Okay.
So you'll do this for me?
I'll give him the invite.
Thank you. Well, I will be sure to check in on you.
It's always good to see you.
Always good to see you. And she slinks off into the shadows. Moonlit River. When the four of you split to go your separate ways, what is it that you wish to do?
Sounds like one of the best things for me maybe to do is to actually look into other people that might have been affected. And my guess is, since I'm not of this town, I might be able to go to someone who is sort of more of this town, and that might be Mournful Ghost and his master.
Okay. So we've established that they're probably slightly not exactly Lotus Wind level, but they're probably from a somewhat exalted Wulin house here. Do you want to give a name to that house?
Nothing comes to mind
Okay.
offhand.
We'll figure it out. But you go to call on them, would you go to talk to Mournful Ghost first or Master Flawless?
I would rather deal with Mournful Ghost, and if he has to go to Master Flawless, that'll be one thing. But I'm sure Master Flawless won't show up, or I have to deal with him at all. I'm sure that would be a thing.
Then let's have you make a study roll.
Let's go with my Earth on here.
Sure.
The +0. I got a 4.
You got a 4. So I think, as you are heading in to speak, you will notice that it's very quiet here. And like usually you hear people chanting or things like that, but it seems unnaturally still. What do you do?
And this is at their house?
Yeah, usually there'd be a person at the gate that would, when you knock, would bring you into the inner household of this place. It's almost like a kind of a training hall kind of place.
I kind of shift my grip on the weapon from sort of like it's, I don't know if there's probably like a sheath or holster is not quite the right thing for a pole arm, but I think I kind of stick it in to just like a loose hold. So I've got like the sword tip down, and I just quietly start like padding through the halls, just kind of looking the door to see if anyone's there, because it's feels like something may have happened.
You walk and you don't see anyone. It's oddly echoing, and then you will kind of turn the corner, and you will see Snowy Fox. See her kind of narrow
The part of me wants to almost like hide again, but I'm sort of like like have walked out of like a doorway, like the doorway or the archway or whatever. I'm just sort of frozen there, staring at her, like jaw a little bit agape. Does she see me?
Yeah.
Snowy Fox.
Moonlit River. It has been some time.
It has. What are you doing here?
I came to collect some things.
Strange that this is such an empty place when you've come in. At this point, I'm sort of walking a little bit towards, but also like circling out a little bit. And I'm still got the weapon in kind of a loose grip, but my fingers are much tighter on it.
She says, yes, there were a few people that were here, but they're no longer present.
And what did you do, Snowy Fox?
You sound like you're suspicious. Don't we have an old connection?
I had a connection to the old Snowy Fox. I do not believe that Snowy Fox is any longer, not after what you've done.
You wound me with this statement. But I can tell that you still care for me. Isn't that right? And she kind of does that step that like she's suddenly much closer to you than you would have expected. I would like you to roll inner conflict.
Anything except for
anything except for metal.
Yep, except for metal. I'll go ahead and use my water on here.
Okay.
That's +2. 10.
You keep your composure, even though your heart probably skips a beat there.
Do I mark XP for rolling that?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Yeah, she says she sort of comes up, and without like trying to like show the nervousness, to be one of those things where like the camera is just down and see just a very slight shift in the holding of the weapon. What did you do with the people who were here? Why are they no longer here?
Unfortunately, there were only a few people here. The rest, the masters and such and your friends were away. So I could not get their permission to take what I wanted. So I may have had to use some force on the young acolytes here.
Is she carrying something?
You can see that she doesn't have her sword that you would usually see. You can see that she's got these sort of metal like gloves on with kind of long fingernail things. And you can see that she definitely has a pouch at her side that seems to contain something.
I try to do the thing where the weapon like flashes up to try to like snip the pouch off.
Ooh, let's have you roll overcome.
Would make sense. So I'm going to use my metal, which can overcome can be my weapon style.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's going to make sense. It probably won't work. That's even with the -2, -1. That's a shame. That's a 3.
That is a 3. So go ahead and mark your metal. And when your sword kind of comes down, her hand comes and jabs. And when those fingers touch your arm, it's like you feel that it drain some of your essence. And she pulls away and you kind of stagger back. And she says, no. I am just a bridesmaid for the bride that is coming. You will have to wait when the princess arrives. And she'll back into the shadows and she's gone.
Well, she's doing this. I try to get to run after her, but then I kind of collapse back to the ground with how much it hurts.
Yeah, it stings, and it's just it almost looks like a rounded bite on your arm. I'm going to cut away from that to Seventh Storm. What are you up to?
Well, I mean, if we want to bring someone to justice, I think we need to have someone on our side who is actually involved with justice. And I want to say that might be Master Flawless, that he works for some kind of the Minister of Justice or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His like your order works, to exorcising demons and ghosts like that,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of an order dedicated to general justice among the Wulin and things. People come and consult with him.
Yeah, and I would go and try to talk to him about this whole situation with the cabal and the whole conspiracy thing, because I think that we need somebody. We can't just say, hey, justice, and then slash people down. I don't think that is how it works.
Absolutely. I think you will kind of ask and hear that he and some of his people were called to the palace, not unlike how you were.
Oh.
And you can catch them as they are leaving.
Sure.
And Master Flawless sees you and greets you very, very warmly. Seventh Storm.
Master Flawless, I am glad to meet you here. I hope this day finds you well.
It does. I have a good feeling about this day. We have just been visiting with the ministry. As you know, there's been much disturbance in the city, so we've been tasked with ascertaining all of the Wulin who have entered the city, in case there are some nefarious ones that have arrived.
That is certainly a worthy task. My friend, I have a favor to ask. It concerns some of the disturbance that has entered our fair city.
Please
and I
tell.
will. I mean, he's my friend. I will tell
he
him.
actually gestures for the rest of his cohorts to go on and head back, and he goes because he knows it's probably business and wants to talk privately with you. So what is the situation?
I will then tell him about the cabal and the kind of focus points and the stuff that is going on, and that we have Casting Blaze as one of the members of the cabal, but we probably need more than that. There are probably more people involved. There were others, but they have been killed by the Tiger-Souled Ghost. I think
let's have you roll study. We'll see what he knows here.
Oh, cool. I will roll study. In this case, I think I might roll study with wood.
Okay.
Wood is good, patience and stuff like that. That is a good thing. Probably not. No, I've rolled a 5, so it's not a good thing.
And you bring up this, and he says, "Oh, well, certainly. If you would allow me, I will go and speak with my contacts, and I will bring you that information shortly."
That is, yes, that is more than I can ask. Thank you.
And I think we'll kind of cut forward to maybe a few hours later when he returns.
Should I mark my element that I rolled with?
Yes.
Cool.
And he will say, I uncovered some names of other people who might be involved with this. One is a antiques buyer named Razor Eyes Gong Sung.
Okay.
And Casting Blaze, as you said. But the third one has risen in the ranks and is now a minister. Minister Delan. She has gained great admiration and is well placed. And I fear that in asking about these things, I did not realize how deep this went. I may have alerted the minister that someone is looking into this.
Oh, I that is not good news, but still, I think we need to unveil this cabal and stop them, whatever they are trying to do. But I did not mean, of course, to entangle you in this.
No,
I
no,
apologize.
it is all right. I wish I could help you more, but unfortunately, my order is involved in their own tasks, and I think probably at that point we'll see one of his juniors come running in and come in to him, and he's like, "Oh, Sensor, I must go. I'm sorry."
Okay.
And
Cool.
he leaves upset and clearly in a hurry.
Okay, cool.
Eye of Heaven, what are you going to be doing in the meantime?
Let's see. So as everybody has dispersed from the tea room,
Yeah. They've all headed kind of in their different directions. Yep.
Is Mournful Ghost is not around? Is that correct?
That is correct. Do you want to track them down?
Yeah, I'm going to because it's Gold Spot Tiger. I transform I step aside into an alley and transform into Gold Spot Tiger, and basically what happens is that obviously, like, we are definitely look like fraternal twins, but I wear brightly colored outfits, and then the color changes, and then I switch to my sword, and then I go on the lookout for Mournful Ghost.
And I think to kind of complement from the earlier scene, we see Mournful Ghost leading some of these people who were with Master Flawless a little bit ago. They're heading back to their household, and you will Mournful Ghost will see you, and he will kind of stop, and the others to kind of look, a Gold Spot.
How are you, Mournful Ghost? It's good to see you. It's been far too long.
It has. I have looked around, asked around about you for the last, and no one had seen you for some time.
Yes, my brother. My brother needed me to attend to some business out of town, so for the family. So I had to step away. But I wanted to come by and talk with you again because it's been far too long.
It has. I should say that this is perhaps not the best time to be in the city. There are ill portents, dark omens hanging over the city. I have heard that there are supernatural creatures loose.
Huh. Well, that's disconcerting.
I know.
My brother has some knowledge of these things, though, so I'm sure that he and his friends will be able to handle this with aplomb.
Will you accompany me back to the household? I can offer you tea there if you wish.
I would love it. Thank you so much.
And he will walk along with you. And what are you kind of sharing with him, telling him in the course of this?
When I was away, I found that I thought of you often, and there were many times when I thought that when I was taking care of these family matters, that it would have been wonderful to have your assistance with me. Some of them were less salient than I would have wished, but as you know, my family has very deep ties, and unfortunately, I am bound by honor to respect those ties.
No, I understand. I have obligations as well. But I admit, and I don't want to take up your time, of course. And kind of stuttering in his sort of awkward way. I'm just a student. There are others like Moonlit River and Master Flawless, who's certainly more skilled than I am. But I do my best, and you will arrive at their estate, and you see as the people come in, they're like, he stops and he goes, "That's very odd. the door person is gone. They should have been here to see us when we arrived.
So is Mournful Ghost, is he like, is he a fighter, or is he just
he is a Wulin. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I said, well, does this usually happen?
No. And he gestures for the others to wait, and he says, "You should wait here. I will go and see what is happening."
You don't need me to wait. Perhaps I can be of assistance. And I draw my sword.
All right. And in an echo of the scene we saw before with Moonlit River, we'll see the two of you walk through the hallways, and I think we will come to a room, and he will cry out, "Moonlit River!" And Moonlit River, you're kind of recovering from your daze, and you see Mournful Ghost comes running over to help you up.
I still got like my arm. I'm like, Snowy Fox was here. She took something. I tried to get it back and didn't.
Snowy Fox. I thought. And you will see over Mournful Ghost's shoulder. Here is Gold Spot Tea, who you kind of have some suspicions of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just sort of look up and like, I think she killed some of your people. There's no one here when I got here. I felt something was wrong. She said that she had to take because she couldn't ask for permission since the master was gone.
Because I will have to wait till Master Flawless returns to know what was taken, but I should go and see who was hurt.
Whatever she took, it fit into it was like a pouch on her side, right?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever it was, she had it in a pouch. She's got like poison gloves or something. I just take this moment, just sort of concentrating, just almost trying to move the poison which is in the arm like out of the wound.
Mm-hmm. He turns to you and he looks at you and Goldspot and he says, "If Snowy Fox is back, someone will also have to tell Seventh Storm."
Probably, but right now, I'm just trying to, again, just concentrating, just trying to get that out.
And I think we'll kind of cut that scene to kind of the silence in the darkened room there. We'll cut there. Let's take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, we'll kind of do some paired up scenes here. Okay.
Sounds good.
I imagine that this house has a tower, really slender and elegant tower and usually you can see someone sit on top of it and guarding the city, I guess. It's probably my mother at that point and not me, because I've got this thing going on. And also there are, of course, lots of people running around in the colors that are associated with the lineage of the, what's the name of the wind?
Lotus Wind, yeah.
Lotus Wind, right. Exactly.
Maybe like one of those kind of multi-level pagoda kind of towers that goes up.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Sure.
Probably have various signs and sigils, banners for your household there.
Yeah.
Turbulent Stone, have you been here before, or is this the first time you've had to call on Seventh Storm?
I think it'd be interesting if this was the first time.
What is your reaction to this finery and wealth?
I think I'm impressed, especially because I'm a little bit more, like everything I own is pretty much like road worn and ragged, and so I'm not used to this opulence, but I'm actually impressed by it. I don't think disdainfully of it at all.
I do think that when you come in, there may be a few more questions than they might give to the normal guest, and they don't bring you into the finest of the reception rooms here, but they have you sit in Seventh Storm. They come and get you and say that your contact, Turbulent Stone, is here.
I will take a bit of offense at that tone, actually, and I will look at this servant person and I will say, Master Turbulent Stone is a very important and valuable person who has done much for the people of the city and this country. It would behoove you well to treat him as such an exalted person as he is.
My apologies, Master Storm. It simply his appearance is deceptive.
You should not put so much stock on appearances.
Nods, and we'll lead you in, room where you can kind of sit, and the two of you can talk. And what do you say?
I will welcome him to the house, and
Thanks for having me.
Oh well, of course you are a very valued colleague. It's probably the wrong word, but I'll use it because I don't know a better one. Comrade, maybe. You're a very valued comrade of mine. I will tell my servants to bring us tea, and they probably will get that they should really use the good dishes and not the kind of cracky ones.
Yeah, and I think you maybe kind of start generally talking, and you hear almost like clatter, like the servant hasn't got a really good hold of it, and the door comes open, and you will see your little sister comes in with the tea service and says, "Oh, brother, I understood that you had guests, and I thought I would help and perhaps serve you and the master."
I will introduce her. I see my sister as a little girl, so I don't think that. Yeah, I will introduce her that this is Master Turbulent Stone, and this is my sister, Little Breeze.
Yes. May I pour you tea?
Sure, thank you.
And she will pour you tea and kind of sets it off the side and then doesn't leave. Kind of sits there.
And I will look at her like, is there something else?
Just in case you need anything.
Oh, well. I mean, she's family. She's part of the lineage. So maybe, why not? Let her listen. I mean, she's a kid.
Yeah.
And
if you don't come of it?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't mind, I turn to you, Turbulent Stone, if you don't mind, my sister listening.
No, I wish I had a sibling that cared for me as much.
I am a dutiful sister.
I can tell.
Yeah, and Severin Storm smiles. Usually he isn't much for smiling. His smile is a bit unpracticed, actually, but you can see that he actually cares for his sister. But he will get back to business then, and will tell you that he has heard that there are several other members who are of this cabal, probably, and that, yes, maybe but that the investigation might have drawn some attention.
Attention from who?
Attention from Minister Delan. She is a bit of an upstart, I gathered, but has become very influential very quickly. And I'm kind of afraid that she might try to take steps against one of my friends who I asked for help there. Usually should know better than most other people.
Time is against us then.
Yes.
As far as your friend goes, I would be happy to ensure nothing happens to them. If there's any way I can help, please let me know.
Yes, but he is a Wulin master in his own right, so
good.
I'm worried, but not too worried about his well-being. But we should hurry, not just with the tiger soul ghost, but with Cabal as well. I see them actually as a bigger threat to the city and to the country as this tiger soul ghost.
Mm. Everything is connected, it seems.
Yes. Should we try to contact the other two, Moonlit River and I forget the name. He was your friend.
Eye of Heaven.
Eye of Heaven. Right.
And that seems like maybe a good spot for us to cut to the other scene. And we see probably one of these acolytes applying perhaps fresh bandages on you, Moonlit River. Goldspot T is there. And we'll see the door open and Master Flawless comes in. And he's Moonlit River. It has been a while since I've spoken to you. You are muted.
I kind of incline my head a bit. I'm like, it's been quite some time. I'm sorry to say I was unable to stop Snowy Fox from leaving with something that she took.
I had heard the name of Snowy Fox before, but no one has ever told me what went on. But well, perhaps that is a story for another day. And he'll turn to you and he says, I do not believe that we have met. Have we?
And there's kind of like a small hitch, and because I'm pretty sure he knows about me. But
actually, he's talking to Goldspot T. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Goldspot T. Have we met?
No, I don't think we have met so far. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
It is interesting. My student, Mournful Ghost, has mentioned your name on more than one occasion.
Yes. We've become close in recent months.
Oh, that is good within limits, certainly.
Oh, yes, of course.
Moonlit River, and he asks you to. I know you've told Mournful Ghost, but I wish you to tell me what you saw, what occurred.
I came here seeking some help with murders we're looking into in the city. See if you might know more about people who might have been affected by these people that we've met. And it was quiet in a way that a house this large should not be. Normally there are people, servants, students, other people coming around. I entered, found her coming out, and I'm probably still around the same area where it actually had been, where I'd been hit. And she got to kind of point to the doorway. She was coming out of there. She told me that she couldn't find the masters here, so that she had to take what she wants, and hurt a few others. I tried to take what she had, but she had these clawed gloves. And this was a prick, practically, has done this. And I kind of like, the arm is probably still swollen.
She did take a relic that was in the care of our household.
I apologize. I was unable to keep it from her.
It is not your duty to protect these things. It is ours, and it had been some years since it had been of importance, so I think perhaps our guard was down. And there's a moment where you think maybe he's going to say what was taken, and then he stops and he says, so are you working with Seventh Storm on these murders?
Yes, actually, Seventh Storm, Turbulent Stone, and myself have been brought in to try to find it. Try to find out who did it.
I spoke with Seventh Storm some hours ago. They asked me to look into some matters, and I passed them some information.
I believe my brother and I have also been asked to join to add support, since perhaps things were not moving along as quickly as.
Well, that is good. The more hands on this, the better.
I shoot a look at Moonlit River. But it's a sly look, not like, kind of like a wry smile, as opposed to like, an FU.
Well, I appreciate you being here to tell us what occurred. Moonlit River, I'm sorry that you were injured in this. We have much to attend here in our household now to make things right. So, and he'll kind of do that. He'll kind of rise in that gesture that says, "You two should leave."
Okay, kind of give a bow and then look back towards Mournful Ghost for a moment if he's right there, and then start to head out.
Okay.
Same.
Yep.
I give Mournful Ghost an extra long gaze.
He looks. You see, he kind of looks. He knows Moonlit River doesn't quite care for you. There's something up, so he looks a little awkward there as the two of you head out. And you can leave the household. Should we bring you in contact with the other pair now, or is there something else you want to do before we bring those threads together?
I'm going to come together.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to. I'll bid Moonlit River. It's lovely to see you as always, but I must be about my way. And then I'm going to head off to an alley and switch back to Eye of Heaven.
Yeah,
and
like I'm sure we'll meet again. We always seem to.
As always.
So I think we'll cut back to the room with Seventh Storm, Turbulent Stone, and there'll be a knock, and the servant will come in and will say, "Masters Moonlit River and Eye of Heaven have arrived. We have treated them with all deference and grace as are required, and we have them waiting in the honored chamber. If you wish, we can bring them here."
I think bring them here. That would be the best thing.
Yes. They're very clearly being on their best obeisance at that point. Moonlit River, have you been here to Seventh Storm's house before?
Probably not.
Okay. It is opulent. What strikes you the most about this place?
Probably that the stuff in a single room here is more than we had growing up my entire life. There's a moment just looking at a single room and just like, I never imagined owning this much wealth in this room ever. And this is the foyer.
Yeah. And you'll be brought through. Eye of Heaven, you're a little more jaded in your 2,000 years. Or so. What's your take on this place?
It's okay. I've seen better in hell.
Okay.
When you go to the court of Oxhead, it's light years ahead of where we're at. So I'm kind of like,
So the servants will bring a Moonlit River and Eye of Heaven in, and the four of you can compare notes. Moonlit River, what do you say?
Kind of like Seventh Storm. I'm like, Snowy Fox has taken a relic from Master Flawless's. I cannot believe these things are not intertwined somehow.
I will go and roll for inner conflict here.
Yes.
And I think at that point, I want to roll it with passion, probably. Probably not, but because I'll fail, but
Right.
well. Oh, well, I've rolled a 9, so I've got an 8.
Okay. So you get to mark XP because you rolled inner conflict.
Yes. And I will mark an element to keep myself from running off.
Give us a flashback. What is the on-screen? We don't see all the details, but what's the on-screen flashback we have of the last time you and Snowy Fox were together?
That was at an old temple ruin, a very ominous temple ruin. The sky is black with clouds, and there is thunder rumbling in the distance, and it's really dark, and somehow it seems very sinister, this whole temple thing. And you see Seventh Storm putting out his hand. There's just ominous music. There's no sound, no speaking. But he puts out his hand to Snowy Fox, like, stay behind me, stay here, stay safe. And then he walks at this temple. Then the camera pans away, and you can see him like a little white flame going up to the temple, while Snowy Fox stands there, looks after him, and you can see shadows engulfing her.
Nice. But you keep it together here. We kind of cut back to you in the present in front of Moonlit River.
I believe that your judgment in this is right. Things are connected here. The Cabal's roots go deeper than we feared, and I will tell you about the whole Minister Delan thing.
Remember what that was? I may have missed it when I've had some audio problems.
Oh, okay. So this Cabal, one of the members of the Cabal is Minister Delan, who has had a pretty amazing rise in the ranks of the ministers. She seems dangerous, and other members that might be involved with the Cabal is Razor Eyes Gong Sung. He's a merchant, right? It was what he was. And I believe that this Cabal is very dangerous to our city, maybe more dangerous than the Tiger Soul Ghost, because that doesn't seem to target ordinary citizens.
Couldn't have chosen a boring job. We had to take this one.
I
Might be
believe
best to look for the weak link in the Cabal.
that might be Mistress Blaze casting Blaze.
We're looking for anyway.
And I turn towards Stone. Have you made any progress with the ruby dust?
Oh, yes. I almost forgot to update you. It's having such a good time here. I've acquired the ruby dust, so if it comes to blows, we'll have the advantage there.
It is possible to take on this foe with just the ruby dust. It will be a tougher battle doing it that way, but it is possible.
Of course, we could go straight for the heart. I know we don't have the same luxury of time. Well, I guess we never had that much time, but it seems like the walls are closing in.
What do you suggest? Should we confront Minister Delan about the whole thing? How might this be connected, her eyes to the thing with Ping? Because Ping was framed, a few months ago?
A few years ago.
A few years ago, and was she in the city even at that point? Because
she would have been a junior minister at that point.
Okay, so it might be connected. Okay. What do you think?
I'm curious if one of these enemies could be our ally, at least temporarily.
You
I think we
think?
should talk to Delon, just to, if nothing else, try to find out more about what's going on.
Do you think she is the best? She's our best point of entry. Or might that not be Casting Blaze, who has far less protection?
That's a great point. Casting Blaze might be best.
But
What do you
Casting
think,
Blaze is
Liam?
easier to sacrifice up to the tiger, which gives us a possible bit of pressure to put on them.
Yeah. I like that plan.
I do not, but I don't see another point where we could act. I do not like protecting people like Casting Blaze, but
He would only be protecting Casting Blaze to give him justice in this world, blow open what has happened, and restore the name of was that Merchant Ping?
Ping.
No.
I see the wisdom in your words, and I bow to you.
So it would seem logical that the next scene would be moving to the four of you confronting Casting Blaze. And I think we see that same household that you were casing before. And when you come to call, the door person the master has instructed me to allow no one into the house.
This is Casting Blaze's servant?
Yeah, he's a very small house, but he has at least a servant to answer the door, kind of thing.
And this servant is I'm assuming not a Wulin?
No.
I just walk up to the servant, like looking straight in the eye, and go, "Your master is a bodyguard, correct?"
He is.
Therefore, he is the one who was paid to put his body into danger when people come, not you, correct?
I take your meaning. Allow me to step out of your way. And he'll step to the side.
Just turn to the rest of them and smile and go, "I believe we have an entrance."
And you will kind of barge in and into a room. We will see a burly guy. The house, surprisingly well appointed, garishly done. Like it is decorated in a way that someone who thinks this is what wealth should look like has decorated their household, and they are drinking. They are clearly deep into their cups this early in the day, early afternoon by this point. And he looks up and I said, "No one was to disturb me. Who are you? You people?"
We are the answers to the prayers you didn't even know that you gave voice to.
I do not pray to anything these days.
Well, you should. You are in grave danger.
What do you know about it?
Eye of Heaven, I think you have a gift for words. Do you wish to tell him what sort of trouble he's in?
Well, my friend, I don't want to get too deep into the details, but you've angered some very important people, and I suggest you cooperate with us in order for you to remain breathing.
Let's see what his demeanor is. This is kind of good Wulin, bad Wulin. Let's have you roll Hearts and Minds there, Eye of Heaven.
Okay.
What do you think you want to roll that with?
Can I keep using metal?
You can keep using metal. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
The only thing is, the only reason you wouldn't keep rolling with your best stat is that when you do hit that fail, that's when I'm going to have you mark that element, and then you will not be able
and
to
then you
roll with
can't
it.
roll on it anymore, right?
Yep.
Okay. You know
But it's
what?
a good calculated risk.
Well, I mean, that really seems to be the one that applies the most.
Sure.
So
Now let's have you roll.
that would be 11.
So you see him kind of breast. He goes, there are others, people I worked with before. They're all dead. They're all dead. There's a thing. Last night I heard cries outside my house. I hid beneath the covers, but I could hear fighting and sounds and growling like some sort of beast animal out there. It was, yeah. What do you know of this thing?
Well, we know what it is. You seem to be a fairly sad excuse for a bodyguard, seeing as you hid under the covers.
I was guarding my own body there, so I think I'm actually, in fact, a very good bodyguard.
Turbulence.
You would have died last night if you hadn't defeated the tiger. If we hadn't distracted the tiger from your house.
There's a tiger. It was a tiger.
Oh yes. Didn't you hear about your friends?
I heard they'd been mauled by a beast, but I did not know what. And then people were telling me that it was supernatural, or that someone had trained an animal. I did not know.
It's lucky for you that I think Turbulent Stone, weren't we aware of other friends that Casting Blaze have who have not yet been killed?
Yes. Just a few. And I kind of take out like a small piece of paper, like I have a list.
Kind of trying to look at the list. Then you see him kind of realize what you're saying, and he's like, what is it that you want? What do I need to do for you to save me from this thing?
I think that list that Turbulent Stone has, we could use more information on. Turbulent Stone, who on there seems the most interesting, or would you like him to fill in some details we maybe don't have?
A Minister Delon, perhaps?
And he goes, I heard rumors that Minister Delon was involved in this, but then I never had anything to do with them. My contact was Razor Eyes Gong Sung. He was the one who instructed me on what to say, what testimony to give.
Funny, that person is not on my list. Just gonna lie, so like maybe they give me more information.
He's a dealer in antiquities, relics, ancient objects, those kinds of things. I know that he bought up many of the properties, sold some of them off, split the money. I got some money, but not nearly as much as I thought I would.
And would you be willing to testify as to that fact?
Oh, God, no.
Well, he already testified. He said he gave testimony he was told to say, so maybe that should be reported. Or we could not stop the tiger when it comes back.
Look, my life is forfeit either way.
But I think your soul is forfeit if the tiger gets you, because supernatural things don't always just kill you. Sometimes it actually demolishes the soul with which you're born, and you do not move on to either another life or to the hells.
Oh. You see him thinking over because he's already been kind of hit by Eye of Heaven's speech.
Why protect Razor Eyes when you've already been stiffed in this deal?
I'm not a master of protecting him. It's that if I give testimony that I lied on previous testimony, then I'll be executed. And Razor Eyes has powerful friends, I've heard. I either way, but you say my soul.
Oh yes. You see, I'm a monk of the Twin Shadows, of the Twin Shadow Mountain Monastery, and one of the things that I'm really, really well taught about is your soul, and the fact that certain supernatural creatures, the kinds that we've been taught to ward people from, don't just kill the body. They actually take you out of the karmic wheel entirely and give up any chances for you in future lives.
I will, if you do this, I will testify against Razor Eyes Gong Song.
I believe that is a start.
What do we need to do?
Well, I think we need to talk to people in power for this. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, certainly. But what about this tiger? I'm
Oh.
a little more worried about that right this second.
We drove it off last night. We have the means and the ability to do so again. And if justice is given, this tiger will have no more need to come after you.
So you'll guard me tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right then. That is good. Yes. All right. If I live to tomorrow, then I will testify against this Razor Eyes Gong Song as you wish. But you have to keep me alive.
Why not testify today?
Oh no, I don't. I'm not putting the cart before the oxen.
We fought that tiger yesterday.
And he'll fight it again.
We don't have to.
You say these things, but it's late in the day. Formal testimony. If you take me out of here and we go to court and we have to stand around, this tiger will be upon me.
Luckily for you, we are better bodyguards than you ever were.
How about I'll offer a compromise?
Which would be?
I will write out my testimony for you.
And then we'll go and carry it to the court. And you will hope that we will be back by nightfall. I like that. They give him a very thin smile.
All right, let us go. And he will stand up drunkenly and reluctantly. Lead on.
Unless somebody else has a better idea, I think we should go to court with him.
So, who is going to be the person to kind of try to cut through the red tape and get you in, and kind of how would you go about doing that?
Could I use some of? Would I have any like sort of hellbound connections I could use to kind of grease the wheels?
Oh, I'm sure there are devils in the civil service there. That makes sense. Let's have you roll overcome.
All right. I rolled a 9.
So you will get to the palace, and you'll say, "Let me talk to someone." We'll see this. You'll call, and this scribe will come out that is essentially he's actually a kind of a were rat. And he said, "Why are you here? What is it you want? What's going on?"
Master Oxhead has sent me. I need your help.
What was this? That's the monster hunter. And that one's from the Lotus Wind lineage. What are you doing with them?
Don't worry. Master Ox has it all under control.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello. It is late in the day. I will have to pull many strings to be able to get you an appearance before one of the magistrates.
Should I tell Master Oxhead that you were not willing to help the
that's
cause?
not what I'm saying. What I am saying is one paw rubs the other.
I see
if
what
I
you're
do this
saying.
for you, perhaps you will do me a favor?
Yes, of course, brother.
Sworn bond?
Sworn bond. Honor among devils.
Yes. Great and honored, gentlemen. If you will give me just a few moments, I will see what I can do about having one of the judges see to your needs. Is that all right?
Wonderful.
All right.
Just remember who I work for.
Yeah,
I whisper to him.
Yes, I do. Absolutely. He skitters off. And I think we'll cut to, I don't know if you've ever seen any of those, Judge D or there's Judge Ruzi. There's a whole series. There's a judge in formal robes with the sort of judge hat on. He sits on kind of almost a chair throne. There's a secretary off to the sides. There are guards lined up. There are executioner blocks off to the side. The judge has a desk in front of them. And we'll say this is Judge Rao. Older, slightly paunchy. You brought in, and he says, "What is the meaning of this? It is late in the day, and this is not on my docket. What is this business that you have called me here for?"
Well, sir, we found some evidence-based. We found a witness who's that's been willing to speak to the court about some previous testimony that he'd given that seems to be he was under the wrong impression, and he wishes to confess his latest truth to you.
Wrong impression, confession. Are you saying that he lied under oath?
I think perhaps maybe he was not conscious that he was lying. I think his mind was clouded. As you can see, he spends a lot of time drinking.
Very well. Let me hear this testimony. And you'll kind of push Casting Blaze forward, and he will go, 2-3 years ago, I was worked with some people. They wished to, and they said they may have been, and I wasn't sure what I saw, but Master Razor Eyes Gong Sung clarified for me what I had seen. And now I realize that perhaps I was lied to about what I had seen, and that it was under a misapprehension. This thing, so an innocent man may have been unjustly. And the judge will say, "This is a very serious matter. Why should I not take this man and put his head beneath the blade even as we speak here?"
Because this goes deeper than one fool's drunken testimony. So,
what are you saying?
His testimony was damning, but it was hardly the only one spoken against Merchant Ping.
He says, I will send a writ now send it out, and I will have this razor-eyes Gong Sung clapped in irons and brought before the court. I'll have him thrown in a cell tonight, and we will see in the morning what comes of these things. And he gestures to his captain of the guard, and he writes out a writ, and he hands it to them. And he says, "It is almost dark. Go and find this man and bring him back here." And they'll bow, and a group of the guards will head out.
Before they head out, I would turn to the others and say, should we maybe try to see if we need to protect this person as well? Split up, so to speak. Yeah, I know.
Sorry, just got excited there for a second.
I'm going to say we had enough troubles with the tiger itself, and I am not at full capacity currently.
Yes, but if the tiger kills Razor I saw Gong Song tonight, we will have nothing. Yet I promised this man that I would protect him.
You did.
And I will honor my word.
I should probably stay with Casting Blaze then, as I can ward off the creature.
Thank you.
Just one of you? Perhaps 2, 3, maybe even 4 of you should stay with me to protect me? No offense, Master Exorcist, but
I will stay. I've made a promise, and I would fear for your life as well, Moonlit River.
Good. What about the rest of you? Perhaps you know, because it's more the merrier.
I'm torn, but I will go with whatever Seventh Storm suggests. He seems to have a very good, clear plan.
And Eye of Heaven, do you want to go with Turbulent Stone then?
Yes. I'm skilled in the ways of the night, so I think perhaps going along to assist would be in the best spirit.
All right. Do we have enough of this ruby dust to split it up between the 2 or 3 or 4 of us?
Yes.
Yes.
But then I would ask Turbulent Stone to leave us some in case we need it.
Yeah, I think I'll give some to each of you just in case get split up even more somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll see Seventh Storm and Moonlit River take Casting Blaze, and they will head off in one direction, and we'll see Turbulent Stone and Eye of Heaven with the guards, and they will head off in another direction, and maybe we see this young figure in a cloak kind of following behind, watching Turbulent Stone, you know, just kind of, so heading off in that way. You get back to Casting Blaze's house. He's super nervous. He gets his wine. He's only 2 of them. Oh, only 2 of them. Only 2 of them. Moonlit River, Seventh Storm, what are you doing to set up or to reassure or prepare?
I don't know, from an OOC point of view, it might be useful if we had a quick comfort and support scene, because I have 3 of my things marked right now.
Absolutely.
So do I.
I think we're both. I'm definitely still, because of what happened to my arm recently, and I'm not feeling as confident as I otherwise would.
You are under time pressure, so we will do comfort and support. Otherwise, if there was enough time, we would just do a montage to heal one of those. But let's. Seventh Storm, what are you saying to Moonlit River? You can see that he is upset and sort of thrown off.
I will say to him, I see that you favor one of your arms. Is there anything I can do?
I kind of hold it out to see if you notice a courtesy of Snowy Fox.
Oh, you saw her.
Yeah.
She. Ah.
I got attacked by her. At this point, I kind of give Seventh Storm a look. I'm like, it takes more than a single pebble to bring down a mountain.
Yeah, I think you should roll for that.
Yeah, let's have you both choose one and roll your sort of mutual comfort and support.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cool. I'll go with Earth.
I have the 7 with water.
Cool.
Excellent. So in that case, Seventh Storm may clear
I
an
have-
element.
Ooh, cool. I have even better. I've got a 10 with Earth.
So a Moonlit River, you may clear an element. And a Seventh Storm, because you rolled a 10, you can write in a bond, clear another element, or ask a question of Moonlit River.
I'm very tempted to ask a question, but also I really need my elements, right?
Yes.
Damn. Very tempted to ask him. No, I think I will abstain from asking him about Moonlit Snowy Fox, because I feel that this might hurt him. So I will get there myself.
And
And I think Michael is somehow lost.
we'll give him a second to come back. He's had some weird internet issues. Well, let's cut. Oh, there we go.
I rolled a 10, Michael, so you can clear one of your elements.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I crashed out of.
Yeah, I thought so. I was tempted to ask Moonlit River about Snowy Fox, but I think Seventh Storm decided against asking questions because would hurt you, and he doesn't want to do that.
So tell me, once you get to this place with Casting Blaze, what preparations are you making? Are you setting up your ward again?
Yeah, I'll be doing the stuff I need for setting up the wards. Maybe putting some script on pieces of slips of paper and such, getting those in places, and trying to find like a room or something that would give us some places to fight if it happened to come in here, but would also give us an ability to hopefully keep it outside of that.
Yeah, I think it's classic that there is kind of a small enclosed courtyard that has a low roof over it. That's what the tire kind of bounced off yesterday. So let's have you go ahead and roll to create your barrier.
Let's do 5.
So you will concentrate and try and bring that up again, but that wound, as soon as you do that, that wound aches, and you find yourself unable to focus. And you will definitely realize that you're not going to be able to put that barrier up again. And yeah, let's have you mark.
Am I able to burn a bond with?
You can burn as many bonds as you want to bump that up.
Yeah, I'm able to do this. I'm able to burn the one with Seventh Storm and Turbulent Ghost to bring it up to a 7, because I need to make this work.
You need to do this. So what do we see on screen that shows us that hesitation?
Yeah. So is it just? And there's just this moment where it sort of stops and it's not working. And then to actually get myself going again, I punch the arm that she got as the pain comes through. Use that to spur me forward to actually get the ward up.
Yeah, and we'll see that it blaze up around. We'll see that effect again that we saw last time. And Seventh Storm, are you doing anything to prepare? What do we see of your preparations?
I will, as yesterday, I will go up to the roof, because standing on the roof seems to be my thing. Standing on roofs is very fine.
Absolutely. The wind kind of catches. You can see that there are storm clouds rolling in, kind of rumbling.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
And we'll cut to Turbulent Stone and Eye of Heaven. You and these guardsmen will arrive at the fairly well-appointed household of Razor Eyes Gong Sung, and the magistrate who is there leading this will pound on the doors and will receive no response. And he begins to clearly, okay, you men go over here and you men go over here and surround the house, and they're clearly kind of taking their time, getting things set to do this. What do you do, Turbulent Stone, Eye of Heaven?
Mr. Stone?
Is the house like a few stories, or is it just
Yeah,
one?
I think it's probably like a two-story behind this wall that's out here, maybe a little bit of a grass in between the wall and the building itself.
I think I'm going to try to find a window and see if I can peek in and see if anyone's in there.
Absolutely. Let's have you roll Overcome to kind of Lightfoot over without being spotted or without getting yourself in further trouble.
I'm going to roll with metal.
Okay.
Another good one. So that's an 11.
Oh, yeah. You will leap
Nice.
in, kind of find your way to an upstairs window, look inside, and you'll immediately smell the blood, that scent of it. And you'll kind of move and look, and through the windows and stuff, you can see that there are multiple bodies in here.
I call down to everyone and say something's happened.
I leap up.
Go on.
I'm going to bound up onto the fence and then, with a single leap, join. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your name, on your character's name.
Oh,
Turbulent Stone.
Yeah.
Right. I joined Turbulent Stone, and then try to enter through one of the windows to check out the damage.
Absolutely. Let's have you make a study roll, Eye of Heaven. What do you want to roll with?
I will roll with. I rolled before saying anything, so I'll just stick to it. But I rolled a 5.
Okay.
So I had no modifier.
So you've been using metal. Let's say you'd use that, so that'll give you 1 hold, right? Because it'll be 7.
Yeah.
Okay. So
okay. That's
what's
fine.
your?
I didn't want to cheat.
Yeah. No. What's your question?
Question is, let me think. Do we see how many is it is it a bloodbath?
Yeah, we'll move through. This is a household. There are several servants, maybe even a courtesan here, plus Razor Eyes, and they are all dead. A few hours dead.
Jeez.
And it looks like this is definitely not the marks of a beast. This is the marks of blades.
Seems that the cabal has been afoot.
Yeah.
They move quickly.
Had even less time than I thought. This is not good.
Well, shall we? I don't think that that it will do us any good to stay here. Shall we return to help the others?
I think that's a good idea.
Let's be away then.
We will see that you two rushing through the streets. the watch kind of calling out as it's gotten dark, and you're rushing your way there, heading seventh storm. You are by yourself outside. The barriers around this place. You don't know when Eye of Heaven and Turbulent Stone will be there to help you, and you will feel as that sort of first crack of lightning illuminates the sky. You will feel a presence, and you will see silhouetted against a building, against the sky on top of a building a ways away. You'll see that lumbering, enormous tiger figure, and it will leap down and begins to prowl the street, moving towards the house.
Oh, well, I've got the ruby dust now, right? Does that mean it's on my scale?
Well, you need several people to get that potency. Right now, by yourself with this, because you haven't been able to solve or read, it's still fairly potent.
Okay. I will attempt to talk to it, though, because why not?
Interesting. Okay,
yes.
Kind of try to hold it. Let's have you.
I jump down from the roof and stand in its way with my ruby encrusted, dusted sword at my side. The illusions are not yet visible.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, honored soul of Ping, we know that injustice has been done against you. We are working to bring those who worked to bring you down and who gave false testimony. We're working at bringing them to justice. Your soul should be in peace and not roam the city.
Let's have you roll overcome.
Nice. I will go and roll this with... Oh, I think with wisdom. Wisdom seems a good idea. Sorry. Yeah, it is. I've got a 7.
A 7. So this thing is a force of rage and supernatural force, and so that's why I had you roll overcome to kind of hold its attention for a while rather than hearts and minds.
Yes.
And I think the beat will kind of prowl, and it listens to you, and I think then there is that moment when it does pause, and then one paw will come out and will smack and will hit you.
Oh, okay.
And I need you to mark an element of your choice as your cost.
Mm-hmm.
And you've held it for a time. You've certainly given it time. Inside Moonlit River, you have been concentrating on this, casting blazes, gloop, 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 gloop. And then you will definitely feel that presence outside, and it holds in place for a bit. What do you do? You're muted.
Out of curiosity, would this count as a worthy agent of the villain?
No,
Okay.
Because he is essentially the boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm trying to hold it so I can feel it close, and I'm just casting blaze.
Yes.
If there's anything you can get under, do so now.
He goes, this worked last night, and you see him climb under his covers.
Have you ever managed to kill somebody?
Do you want to stay in here, or are you going to go outside?
Yeah, if I can go outside and still keep the thing up.
Yeah.
To take just a step out the doorway.
And I think that this is sort of the tableau as we see Seventh Storm kind of falling back from that blow, but still upright. We see you move out and kind of concentrate, and this thing will bring its paw onto the barrier, and again, it will shake you when it hits. If it brings its full attention, you know that it's going to break through. And I think that is the moment that we will see Turbulent Stone and Eye of Heaven arrive on the scene. So the way I usually do this with a big boss, especially when you've already set up the scale, is I'm going to have three of you tell me how you are using your weapons and your abilities to kind of draw off its guard. And then we'll have the monster hunter, Turbulent Stone, who with the ruby dust, go for the big roll. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Eye of Heaven, when you arrive on the scene, what do we see, and what are you doing with your weapons, with your fighting style to draw off this big tiger soul ghost, spectral forces? What are you doing to draw its attention, to draw off its guard, to give room for Stone to make that strike?
All right. So as opposed to running through the streets, I've been running across the rooftops in order to get there in time. And so then as I arrive and I see that that our team is in danger, I leap off the roof. I have a chain with an axe head attached to it. I'm swinging that over my head, as quickly as possible, and getting a big arc on it, and I shout at the top of my lungs, away you beast, demon, we must stop you, and it is your day to end. And then I land, and I attack with my ruby dusted. Or are we waiting for?
And that's the thing is, I imagine that your chain goes out. Your axe, you probably wrap around one of its great legs, and you're struggling with it. And it's clear the ruby is clearly burning at it as you're pulling, trying to keep it in place. What are you doing, Moonlit River? How are you using your powers? What are you channeling?
Yeah, so I've got I'm still basically just keeping up the thing behind me. I think it would also be funny if the moment Abe, what's your character's name? I've Heaven says that, I get this just a quick moment and like a little bit quizzical, and they're just like a flashback to me. There's one of the things that the other flashbacks we've seen, we look like ourselves but different enough that it can be like, oh, there's something here, but I think Eye of Heaven probably looks identical.
Yeah. In a past lives. Yeah, weird.
But there's two things where we had together helped a village from a group of bandits, and as he kind of leaped down, said almost the same thing as I had rushed out, kind of on opposite side, mirroring what he was doing and using my weapons to basically, we were trying to corral them all in one direction, which is what we'd done in the past. There's just a moment where I'm just like, what this, and it just sort of comes back, and then I'm just sort of rushing out and spinning spinning my polearm and trying to just like rile it probably towards Turbulent Stone.
Yeah, hit it. The ruby dust, when it hits against it, it kind of pushes it. It's getting its back end, getting pushed and pulled. Seventh Storm, you're nursing. Where did it hit you? With that
on shoulder, I believe, or upper arm over here.
And its claws kind of cut a little bit into your arm, but also kind of felt just the force of it go through. What are you doing? You see that Turbulent Stone is ready. Eye of Heaven and a Moonlit River kind of got this thing held. What are you doing to set this up?
I think what I'm going to do, and I unleash the illusions. I will start to confuse it by hitting it with, I think, a lot of tiny birds that claw at it, and I will cut at it with my sword, just small cuts, so it doesn't know, is that a bird, was that a sword? It's very distracting, I imagine.
Just this cloud comes flying out, this flock, and in between, the packs, and it's riling back. It can't quite get back because it's being pushed, and it will rise up to try and bat these things away. Turbulent Stone, you've got one shot at this thing. Your others have used their ruby. They have affected it. They have put it into place. So go ahead and roll your style element.
All right. That is an 11.
That is an 11.
Nice.
Tell me what that looks like when you destroy this.
I think I was probably also running on the rooftops with Eye of Heaven, since we both came in together, and once it's being held, I leap onto its back. We've kind of said it has like a tiger form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also. And I make some cuts with my saber in a very like exact pattern, and then bring up the ruby dust in my hand, and it kind of swirls in my palm, and I press it into the wound, and it just kind of starts to disintegrate out from there.
We could probably see the cuts that you made, or some kind of glyph, or character, and we see that go in, and that will light up. That we see that illuminate out, and it will give one cry, just absolute cry of anger and passion that will probably shake everything for the next few blocks. Be a kind of a wave that will go out, and then whoosh, it's gone, and it just gets immediately very, very quiet. And you have defeated this foe.
Good job.
Yes.
And this is what we're going to take up next time in the wake of this. No one rolled really badly so that I could put your sister into danger there, Seventh Storm. So that was good. But we will see that the camera kind of pulls back on this scene, and we still know the Cabal is out there. There are other things, the Shark-Fingered Princess, this bride, other things are ready. Let me go through and hand out end of session XP, and then if you don't mind, we'll do a quick stars and wishes. Wishes being things we definitely want to see or want to see more of for next time. Stars being highlights. Moonlit River, I think we encountered both of your entanglements. We touched on both of them today, didn't we?
Yeah.
We saw Snowy Fox, and we got your sort of interaction there with Master Flawless. So that's 3 points.
And that rolls over after
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you can add a new move. You can add +1 to one of your stats. You can do that once for each of them. Okay. Seventh Storm. I think that we saw both of we encountered Master Flawless today, and we saw you thing with Snowy Fox. So yeah, 3 points for you. And Turbulent Stone, I think, we hit both of yours, right?
Yeah, I think so.
3 points. And Eye of Heaven, I think 3 points as well. Plus, Eye of Heaven, I think you rolled Inner Conflict once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So mark an XP for that.
Did I fail it though?
No. The system is not when you fail, but when you actually make the roll. When you have to, you get a point.
The Inner Conflict though was when I was dealing with Master Oxhead, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So I think I failed that because I had to go with my tail between my legs. No.
Yeah, but you still get a point. The XP that you get to mark for that is just when you make the roll, when you go ahead and roll it, regardless of what you get a point.
Okay, cool. All right.
So Moonlit River, is it okay if we start with you? Do you want to do stars or wishes first? You muted.
Damn it. Go with stars. I liked when we got to get together and bounce things off of each other to make casting blaze, bringing stuff around. I had fun with that.
Anything else you want to point to?
That'd be the main one. I was like exploring the other different stuff.
Okay. Sabine, stars that you want to mention?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I liked all the characters, the way they went at problems. I liked the way we met up and everybody was talking. And I'm curious to see where that will go. And also stars to you, Lowell, for this Cabal thing. I like that. I really like that.
Good. I'm glad you're digging that. Turbulent Stone?
Yeah, this session kind of had it all for me. I liked the political intrigue, had a good amount of inner character stuff, and I really liked when we kind of interrogated casting Blaze. That was pretty cool, and the infight was awesome too.
Nice.
I don't think I have any wishes, honestly.
Okay. And I've Heaven, any stars?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on all the names. Casting.
Sure.
What is it? Casting.
Casting Blaze, the drunkard.
Casting Blaze. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I liked all the interaction and how we did the good cop, bad cop routine. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the end fight, and I found that the splitting up the party was an interesting twist. I wasn't sure if we would have, and going into it, I didn't know if we would just be wind up with a pile of dead bodies or not. But I thought it was interesting gameplay. Wishes, the only wishes I usually have during a game are for myself. So that, I hope to kind of get more into the character next time, and then I'm probably going to switch to Gold Spot Tiger for the next episode, to give some focus on her. But that's really about it. I really enjoyed Michael and Sabine. Your role playing was you guys were really fast with it and very, very in character. I really enjoyed that a lot. And Turbulent Stone, Raji, I thought that you did a great job of kind of being the anchor point for the team on this one. So it was a very, very good game. So thank you.
Yeah, I do want to call. The first session is always hard when you're finding your character, and especially when you're coming in in the middle. I thought you did a great job of coming in and being flexible about that, and rolling with the changes and things. So I appreciate that. Sabine, let me swing back around. Any wishes that you would have for stuff you want to see more of, things you definitely want to see next time?
I actually would love to use my my moves more, because I had no. I think in these 2 sessions I used one of my playbook moves once, and that's mostly it. And I would like to. They sound so amazing. I would like to use them more. Have an opportunity to use them more.
I will keep that in my opportunity to use. Anything else you want to point to?
No, I think I'm good. I would actually like to see more playbook moves, anyways.
Okay, that makes sense. One of the things is that this is a common feature, is, as you know from playing Hearts of Wulin, is that often the playbook moves, because everybody's doing cool stuff, they often get dropped to the side. But yeah, I will look and see, especially Phoenix flying in the sky. If the groups are split up, it's a good opportunity. And Raji, anything you want to say, definitely want to see next time or see more of, or anything?
I think for me, just more of the same. I really like when there's a good variety of stuff in each session. And I actually liked when we split the party, because I think my character is less of a negotiator and more of trying to do underworld market stuff and things like that. So I like to have those.
I enjoyed everybody's individual scenes. I thought you all did a great job in those. It was fun to bring back together. Abe, anything else you want to point to? Definitely want to see next time? Wishes, anything like that?
No, since this is my first game, I'm I'm just really open to seeing where it all goes. I thought that the when I came into it, I thought, okay, we're going to fight the ghost guy. But then having that cabal show up was a great twist. So, more kind of unexpected twists and turns, I think, is pretty much my, would probably be the only wish that I have thus far.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. I'm going to stop the recording. I will check in with Michael, but are all of you okay if I post it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to stop the recording.